Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/JustNoMil. In today's episode, MIL and baby shower RSVPs. MIL selfish 30th birthday cake. My JNGM left my 4-month-old with my special needs uncle so her husband could drink. MIL thinks I'm pregnant. I said I'm not. She goes and calls my mom and who knows who else about her suspicions. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. MIL and baby shower RSVPs. My sister is expecting a baby and I've offered to throw her a shower, which she happily accepted. The only things I asked of her: she and her DH are working 2 jobs each, were their registry info and a guest list with emails or physical addresses so I could make sure all of her desired guests were invited. She and her DH responded quickly and never made any adjustments to the list when I double-checked at my mailing out deadline. So it's about the time for RSVPs to roll in, and they do. Then, as I'm opening more, I sent the physical invites out with prepaid and addressed envelopes for easy returns. I come across an envelope filled with photocopies of confirmed RSVPs, all with names I do not recognize. While I may not personally know everyone she's asked to be invited, I'm familiar enough with the names by now to know that these, in total, 20 women are absolutely not on the list. A quick cross-reference proves me right. Fortunately, one of the photocopy RSVPs had a phone number written under the name, so I call it. A very sweet lady answers and I awkwardly make my way to, "Yeah, I'm calling because you RSVP'd to my sister's baby shower but you aren't on the guest list." She sounds very flustered and says that she was invited by not her real name Lucy, my sister's MIL, and that Lucy has invited her book club ladies, who are my mystery RSVPs, who are under the impression that it's a grandmother shower. I cleared up the confusion for the woman who'd left her number, and she was kind enough to give me the numbers for everyone else who wasn't invited. So I had 19 more calls to power through trying to straighten things out. Then, it was time to call Lucy. Maybe I was rude, and I hope it doesn't cause problems for my sister later, but after our hellos I said, "Hey Lucy, I just had to uninvited 20 unexpected guests from not her real name Leah's baby shower because your friends thought it was a party for you. You're still welcome to attend and I hope you'll come celebrate your grandson's impending arrival with everyone, but my venue and budget cannot accommodate such an influx of unexpected guests. Because of the limited space, I've decided to have a greeter verifying names with the guest list at the door to ensure that your son's desired guests are the only people in attendance." I know it's rude, but I hung up after I read my piece. I didn't think it wise to argue with someone so sneaky. I have not heard from Lucy, Lee, or my BL about this, so I'm hoping she's sufficiently embarrassed and won't cause drama, but that remains to be seen. I don't have much overbearing MIL experience, so I guess I'm here looking for a little advice, maybe similar anecdotes, or possible steps I may have missed here. Thank you for reading if you made it this far. You are an absolute hero. Way to go, Op. I honestly have no advice as I think you handled this spectacularly. My jaw dropped after the envelope all the photocopied RSVPs. But then to further read she was telling PPL it was her party. I just have no words. We've heard of adding extra guests and throwing their own creepy grandma party, but on someone else's dime. This is a whole other level of crazy. I had no clue that kind of audacity was possible until it was sitting in my lap. You are fierce. Good for you. OMG, I love this. I hope the baby shower goes well. I would call your sister and let her know what happened and how you handled it, just so she's aware and can maybe talk with her husband about whether or not they want to address it, or just so they know the story in case she tries to spin it somehow. I did call her to give her a heads up after posting. I began to second-guess the doorman idea, thinking maybe that was harsh. She and Bill didn't seem surprised and said that they're okay with me having a guest list greeter to keep it limited to people they actually know. You are awesome. You actually remind me of my SIL. She ended up helping with my wedding, and when she found out my MIL had asked our officiant to add in some things to our vows, she called everyone and handled it. I didn't even know about it until after the wedding, when I could actually laugh about it. Oh my word. The weird thing is, Lucy was so great during wedding planning and everything. Now that there's a baby entering the picture, it sounds like she's gone over the top a bit. Which I guess I'd somewhat expect. He'll be her first grandchild, but spinning the party as for her is pretty low IMO. What? Now that's one I haven't heard before. You are a real champion. I would have called the MIL and told her that SHE needed to uninvite her friends because they were not invited. I hope the MIL gets some backlash from all her lady friends. It boggles my mind that she thought she could invite people to a party she was not hosting herself. Introduce your sister to the MIL subs. I have a feeling she might need the support, especially after the baby is born. That's when the baby rabies really come out. I understand the sentiment, but I'm glad OP called all the ladies herself, because MIL definitely can't be trusted to uninvite her guests herself. She most certainly would have just let them show up on the day of the party no matter what is said to her. You are awesome. Wow, you are a hero. I think you handled that just fine. I would, however, give Lee a heads up on what her MIL did, in case MIL starts harassing her or Bill. I responded to a similar comment, but she and my BL both know now and were happy with how I handled myself, so they're aware of what happened should she reach out. MIL selfish 30th birthday cake. This is the story of my husband's 30th birthday cake from earlier this week. So my husband has a notoriously super sweet tooth. He loves any and all things chocolate. When he was younger, he used to love the chocolate cake recipe his mom used to make, which was a pretty normal recipe which includes milk, eggs, and of course lots of sugar and chocolate. Now my MIL has always kind of been one of those, crunchy, sorry I can't find a better stereotypical word/group to explain her lifestyle, moms. She never let her kids have anything except all natural snacks, superfood shakes, etc. But she would splurge every now and then for holidays and events with sugar and baking. But lately she has gotten a lot more intense with her lifestyle choices. So anyways, she invites my husband and I over to her house to have cake on his actual birthday with her, my FIL, and his grandma. So MIL asks my husband what type of cake he would like. Of course he said the chocolate cake recipe. But then she says to him, okay, but I'm going to make a dairy-free, gluten-free, and sugar-free chocolate cake. To which my husband just says, okay. And then that was the end of the conversation. Mind you, this woman is such a C*** that anyone in her family is afraid to stand up to her because she is manipulative and passive-aggressive to the max, and that's how she punishes people. So my husband didn't say anything. But in my mind, instantly I'm screaming, WTF, that is the most selfish thing I have ever heard. Her lifestyle choices are by choice and not medically necessary. So on my husband's milestone 30th birthday, she is choosing to make him a cake that she knows he will not enjoy, because he has said before that he doesn't prefer dairy and sugar-free food in passing. So anyways, we all go over on my husband's birthday and I've given myself time to not say anything, be calm and not roll my eyes, etc. I really do hate this woman. So sure enough, here comes the cake, and she yet again explains the cake and also adds in that it is, and even the recipe he requested, it was off of the back of a Hershey's box that she found and just modified it by making it gluten-free, dairy-free, and sugar-free. And then also puts dairy-free ice cream on the table of his least favorite flavor, caramel. So she not only ignores his wishes to have a normal chocolate cake for his birthday, but makes it to fit her lifestyle, doesn't even use the recipe he requested and served his least favorite flavor of ice cream, and it was dairy-free as well. He hated it. It took everything in me not to say a word. But there we go. The story of my selfish MIL and my husband's 30th birthday cake. Edit. When she offered us the rest of the cake to take home, we declined, not super politely either, more like we wanted nothing to do with it, so hopefully that got to her a little bit. Another edit, because I have some really shitty people commenting on this post. We literally have our reasons of not saying anything or for me not brining my own cake. The night before I gave him a party and got him 4 different types of his favorite cakes, a box of chocolate, and 2 pints of ice cream that he really loves. She completely degraded him as he was growing up into feeling like he isn't valid and wouldn't let him be himself without feeling guilty about it. We have to pick and choose our battles. I posted here and specifically put in the flare that I didn't want advice. I'm not asking if I'm right or wrong in the situation. I just posted to kind of vent a little bit, and it's so much easier to vent to strangers and is a good safe outlet for me. So for real, if you want to criticize me on my own post, would you please think twice about it? Your opinions and drama starting and advice are not really wanted here. Just let me vent. FNG cake. I don't like cake. I've disliked it for years. Did it stop my genmom from buying me one every year? No. Did I tell her every year to not get me a cake? Yes. Just because someone tells you they're being nice to you doesn't mean that they are. I totally get why you're pissed about this. It's not about cake, it's about the fact they don't see him as a person, even as basic as cake/ice cream flavors preferences. She held him hostage with his hope that today might finally be the day he gets a real birthday with parents who love him. Instead it's the same Mil holding court to her specifications shitshow. Ugh. Puke. Did I miss the part where anyone at all told MIL that your husband didn't want that cake and that you'd bring the cake instead? Or did everyone agree with your MIL that her cake was going to be okay, so she went ahead and did what she assumed was completely agreed to by the birthday boy? I hope for your SO's sake, he never has to spend another birthday with her. Your MIL told your husband she was going to make an XYZ cake. And your husband said, okay. I've explained why okay was the best answer in like 4 different replies now. Bottom line, it was best decision for him not to fight her on it and just let it happen. I am sure to get him 4 different types of his favorites cakes the night before. And when she offered for us to take the leftovers home, we made a point to tell her we don't want them. Y'all are being so judgmental on this post. I posted to vent. That's all. Your MIL is super selfish, and I'm sure would have thrown a fit if you'd insisted on spending husband's birthday doing what he wanted, eating what he wanted with whom he wanted. What is it with these selfish people who can't let other people have a single day to celebrate themselves? Right. I wish we had the choice to not go. But seeing as I've done everything I could have to avoid her for the past 2 months, we had to do this one because she also invited people before we confirmed we were coming, so she could say we never showed up to everyone and make us look sh*tty. I'm sorry, people here are being j*rks. She made his birthday about her lifestyle and her choices, not what he wanted, on his own birthday. The choices themselves didn't actually matter. What matters is she made his birthday about her, which isn't cool. That's when you politely decline her cake offer and you make him the cake he wants. My MIL is crunchy too, and this DH and I just laugh quietly together and be polite when she offers stuff, or he will straight up tell her, zombie killer makes it this way, insert, and that's how I prefer it, sorry mom, no offense. And just laugh it off. LMAO, y'all gotta already the other comments. I swear I have said like 5 times I had 4 different types of his favorite cake at home. My guy was set. My JNGM left my 4-month-old with my special needs uncle so her husband could drink. I posted this in AITA first, but I thought this might be a better place. I hope it's alright. So I 19F live with my boyfriend 21M, and my 47-year-old uncle who is autistic and can't live on his own. Early in the morning my boyfriend started having incredibly intense pain in his abdomen and we rushed to the ER. We waited to be seen until around 2 p.m. and when we were seen, the doctor was scared his appendix had burst. I had our 4-month-old baby with us and I called my grandma to ask if she could stay with her while I was with my boyfriend at the ER. She took baby back to our house, and sent me updates periodically, telling me I didn't need to come home and I had plenty of frozen milk for baby in my freezer. Around 8 p.m. I got a call from my uncle. I could hear baby screaming in the background and he asked how to properly heat up milk because he had melted a bottle heating it up on the stove. I asked where grandma was and he said that her husband made her leave at 6 so he could go home and drink and watch TV, which is his usual evening routine, so they left my infant with my, while trying his absolute hardest, autistic uncle who has no idea how to take care of a baby besides the basics. I asked my next-door neighbor to go over and relieve my uncle from my banshee child, and right when my boyfriend was lucid, which was about 15 minutes later, I told him I loved him and needed to go get baby, and left. I called my grandma and just yelled at her, calling her and her husband terrible people for leaving my baby with my uncle, and I called my grandma a doormat who needs to grow a backbone if her husband's drinking habits is more important than the life of her only great-grandchild. I didn't answer any calls, but I've gotten dozens of texts calling me a terrible person for yelling at my grandmother, even though she left my baby pretty much alone. Good on your uncle for knowing that he needed help and who to ask. Breaks my heart he was trying so hard to do the right thing. Your grandma though. Bloody hell. I'm so sorry, I hope your so is doing better. First, I'm glad your baby is okay, and kudos to your uncle for realizing he was in over his head and getting help. It sounds to me like great-grandma needs to never be left in a responsible position with that child until baby is 18 or so. You are not at all a bad person, and if you decide to go scorched earth either temporarily or permanently and block everyone, I think that's a perfectly reasonable decision. I applaud your uncle for calling you. I hope everyone is alright. Yep, dude was the adult in this situation. You need to document this in a letter, and send it certified mail to each person who dared to send you a complaining text. Seriously. Because the next time they complain to you, you need to cut them out of your life. Your grandmother was way out of line. At the very least, she should have called you to let you know what was happening. I 100% agree. If it were me, she would never be alone with LO again. To my mind that is totally inexcusable. There is no possible excuse for that to happen. I don't give 2 hoots in hell about grandpa wanting his normal nightly routine of drinking and watching TV. He is wholly capable of doing that without grandma there. I'm glad to know your uncle tried, but that was such a bad thing to do to you and him. I'd put grandma in a time out until she admits what she did could have been very dangerous. Grandma should have all baby privileges revoked forever. This is unforgivable. I mean this with no offense to your uncle. It sounds like he was really trying to help, but he was in a situation he was not prepared for. But I want to say this could have almost been more dangerous to baby leaving them by themselves. I mean, if he melt the bottle trying to heat it up, how hot do you think he could have made it? Would he be able to tell if something was wrong? If baby got a hold of something? I mean, tons of terrible things could happen if baby was alone, but just as bad if not worse with someone that doesn't comprehend the needs and abilities of a baby. Your grandma is a terrible person for putting you, baby, and uncle in this situation. I feel so sorry for him. He must have been terrified. If it were me, grandma would never, never, ever, never, ever, ever, see my child again. Ever. MIL thinks I'm pregnant. I said I'm not. She goes and calls my mom and who knows who else about her suspicions. Well, I am, but can you fault a girl for not wanting to tell anyone in the first trimester? I'm more convinced now that not telling her about my pregnancy as long as I possibly can is the right move. No more visits or calls for her. She asked me in front of everyone if something else was causing me to feel down. Your behavior, ma'am, that's it. It is so violating. Also, is it not super basic girl code to never ever ask or assume someone is pregnant? Did she skip that chapter? My husband apologized for his mom's behavior, but I think I have to take matters into my own hands and be very blunt with her should she ask me again. Ask her if she's hit menopause yet, if she enjoys swinging, and the results of her last pelvic exam, because we're apparently sharing personal information that's none of our business now. MIL, is something else bringing you down? Yes. All of these horribly intrusive questions about pregnancy and my body are what's getting me down. When, and if, I get pregnant, you'll be told. Now please stop asking. I would have some fun with this one. I would look her dead in the eyes and say, very offended like, are you calling me fat? And get up and walk away as fast as possible, leaving her to a room full of glares. But do it quickly so you are not seen giggling. It's even funnier because I've lost lots of weight due to pregnancy. Other part of me wants to say, are you asking if your son is raw dogging me? Nasty. I can confirm that saying, no, I'm just fat, when someone asks if you are pregnant is highly awkward. Even worse for that person was I was doing a favor for them and they had to stand there all awkward and embarrassed. Filled my cold dead heart with glee. I really was just fat, I gain in the stomach first. Not overreacting. Only answer her questions with questions and have everyone who will do the same. Are you pregnant? Are you pregnant? Why are being like XYZ? Can you explain your behavior? I mean, just push it to the point of lunacy. I love this so much. Baby rabies is a terrible thing. Be sure to give her a due date about 3 weeks after what you suspect the real due date will be. About a month before the real due date, both of you start turning off your phones occasionally, not answering immediately, and just making it really hard for somebody to tell when you have gone to the hospital. Boundaries, boundaries, boundaries when you do let her visit. And she's going to push for an overnight when the kid is about 6 weeks old. I'll bet a tuna fish sandwich on it. Yup. I'm having my second in December. Haven't told anybody but my parents and sisters. In-laws have no idea. I told my family that I was due in January just so I can be left alone this time. This comment cannot be more perfect. Next time tell her you think she is in menopause and go ahead and call her husband. Take this wonderful opportunity to lie about your due date by a few weeks when you do announce. I'm 34 weeks pregnant and all anyone knows is the month I'm due. The state of my reproductive organs is none of your business. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.